Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 39, DJI Mini 5 Pro and DJI Update. Hope everyone's doing well. It's the end of September. October's here. My gosh. Wow. Got a full house tonight. Warren's here. Zach, Steve Janess, Josh is here. Josh, really enjoyed having you on. That was absolutely great. Thank you for coming on with Ray. Let's see who else. Drone Shots, Jody. Dale's drone action cam and Thailand videos. Let's see who else we got here. Dominic, welcome. Good to see you. Waypoint New England, welcome, my friend. RJ Redding, Terry Dugas, John Flynn, welcome, John. John Rocker. Let's see who else we got here. Johnny Droneflyer, welcome, Johnny. Let's see. Richard, welcome, Richard. Let's see who else we got. Art, welcome, Art. Let's see. Dover Drone Photography. Bill Grace, welcome, Bill. Jim Anderson. Okay. All right. Want to start off, and I gotta apologize. If you haven't known, our good friend Art is in need of some help. He just had a colonoscopy. And apparently his insurance didn't pick up all of it. So he started a GoFundMe. I did put a note out there about that. Art, if you still want, if it's still relevant, if you want, you're welcome to drop a link in the chat for that. Art would, I'm sure, would greatly appreciate your help. He's a member of the drone community, and we like to help one another here in the drone community. So, okay. So that's where we're at. I was going to mention it last week, and I'm sorry I forgot, but again, if you're able to help Art, I'm sure he would greatly appreciate it. And again, we help people, we help each other out here in the drone community. All right. Okay. Ron's going to join me here in a little bit. I did see that Marcus made it back from Spain in his big trip out there. It looks like he had, from all the pictures and everything, looks like he had a great time. Hopefully, maybe we're going to have him on in a week or two. Check out how his trip went. From everything I've looked, looks like he had a great time and a lot of fun. And I'm sure it's good. It's fun to travel, but it's always great to get back home. And oh yeah, by the way, let's take a look here. All right, here it is in all its glory. Okay, the Mini 5 Pro. We're going to talk about this here in a little bit. I filmed the unboxing, but I'm working 60-hour weeks right now. So getting out there and flying. Dr. Ted, welcome. Getting out in Johnny Yoki. Getting out there and flying is another story. I can film the unboxing. It's usually I can do that even in the evening. It kind of doesn't matter. But just the weekend, and last weekend I get paid on once a month on the last Thursday with a Friday. So I got paid last week. So I had to pay bills on Saturday. Sunday we do grocery shopping and all other kind of errands and stuff. It's just like yeah. Well, this week I've carved out some time. Weekend, I'm definitely gonna be heading out here. So Ron's gonna join me here in just a little bit. Got a lot to talk about tonight, and I mean a lot. I mean, there was just went out there today, and I'm looking both on Drone DJ and Drone XL. I'm like, holy cow, there is just a ton of stuff out there right now. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna bring up the first article here. Now there's gonna be some other article. Yeah, let's. Oh, before we get into that, last Thursday, was it? Or Friday? I'm not sure. Last Thursday, yeah, I went to the dentist. I got a new set of temps. And these are 100% improvement from the last set of temps I have. And I have another appointment coming up this Friday. And if all goes according to plan, which it probably should, I'll be getting my permanent set. So crossing fingers and all that. this was a 3.5-hour visit in the chair. Okay. It took a long time. They had to do a lot of adjusting to it. And, you know, this one was a little further back, so they had to line up holes and everything. And it was, just, yeah. But, and and I got to say this, it feels really funny during that time because they took the old ones out. I'm sitting out there without any teeth in my mouth. And it feels very, to say the least. So, yeah. And ask me offline sometimes about how it felt to have my abutments pulled out. Okay. They're little metal posts. They're in the back. All right. Yeah. That was funny. Okay. All right. First article we're going to get to tonight is there was a firmware update for the Mavic 4 Pro, and I wanted to go ahead and cover that. Now, you guys know, and sitting behind me, you probably can't see it because I don't have the box facing you. That's the Mavic 4 Pro. And again, that's hey Jay Bird, welcome. Lynn Smith, welcome. Again, you know, I'll probably be doing an unboxing and getting it out and getting it for its first flight this weekend as well too. So, okay, Art, thank you for dropping that in the link. Okay, Mavic 4 Pro drone gets even smarter with new firmware, and let's see what it is. All right, biggest change is the ability to switch between focal lengths during video recording, both in normal and slow motion modes. This means creators can seamlessly shift perspective mid-flight without stopping to adjust settings. A clear win for dynamic storytelling. The update also brings dynamic home point support when paired with the DJI RC-2 remote controller, which allows the drone to update its return to home location as the pilot moves, especially useful during long tracking shots or mobile filming setups. Another major upgrade arrives for vertical shooters. The firmware adds lossless and crop vertical mode recording options in portrait mode. This means TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts operators can now capture cleaner platform-ready content without the compromises of reframing footage later. DJI has also thrown in the usual fix some known issues, though details remain vague. Okay, so that was an update on the Mavic 4. I mean, and it sounds like a good one. I mean, to be able to switch that in the middle of a flight instead of having to stop and do, I mean, that's pretty golden. So kudos to DJI for doing that. So, okay, Art, thank you for dropping that there too. So, check with Art if you feel like you don't want to do it through GoFundMe. Check with him, shoot him a message, and I'm sure he'll be able to hook you up. So, okay, all right. Let's take a look here. What else? Okay. And the Osmo Nano just came out, and what do you know? There's a firmware update for the Osmo Nano. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look at this here. The new firmware introduces slow motion video playback support. Supports 4K slow motion recording at 120 frames per second. Firmware adds the ability to play these clips directly, likely when using the multifunctional Vision dock or paired devices. For creators, that means less guesswork in the field. You can now review your clips in their final slowed down form instead of having to wait until post-production. It's a small but practical improvement that makes the workflow more intuitive. Beyond creative options, the update also optimizes power consumption and heat management. So, all right, that's it for the Nano. I don't know has anybody got the Nano? Drop it in the comments if you have. I'm real curious to see what you guys think of it. I really haven't seen. I've been so busy. Work has been so busy, the Monday through Friday stuff, and then on weekends I've been consumed with other stuff as well too. And hockey season starting, so I'm starting up my podcast again. So yeah, I'm going full tilt right now. So yeah, if anybody has gotten it, drop it in the comments. I would love to find out. That would be great. That would be absolutely great. So okay, see what else we got coming up here. Well, DJI just, ever so slightly, quietly dropped a new drone on us. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, let's take a look here and see. DJI quietly drops Mavic 3 TA drone with thermal precision boost. Okay. Key thermal improvements. The headline change in the 3 TAs, it's refined thermal camera. DJI explains the new unit features a 41.2 degree DFOV, diagonal field of view, and a 60 millimeter equivalent for focal length while preserving the same 640 by 512 resolution as before. In contrast, the original 3T used a 61 DFOV and a 40 millimeter equivalent focal length. These tweaks suggest DJI is narrowing the thermal field of view, trading off breadth for potentially improved object discernment in mid to long ranges. Okay, so that looks like an update there. Beyond the thermal side, 3TA largely preserves the strengths of the 3T. DJI has rolled firmware updates for that as well. So and you're free to read that article again. You know, I do post all these articles out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page, so you can have that. You know, I'm going to give myself a gift for Christmas, okay? I'm getting a new chair. I've had this chair probably as long as Rotor Talk, because I got this new when we lived in our other house. So this is about 7 or 8 years old. The pneumatic arm on this, okay, most of the day, I'll say, you know, 3/4 of the week is probably okay. But then there's a day like today, it goes down, it goes down, it goes down, it goes down. And there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, it has seen its better days, and I'm gonna take care of it appropriately and get a new one. So and I got my eye spied out for one of them as well. So that'll be from Bill to Bill, Merry Christmas. Okay. So, and that's what Valerie says. Valerie goes from Bill to Bill, Merry Christmas kind of thing. So very welcome. Hey, good to see you. Long time no see, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Been a minute. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate that. Oh, we have a celebrity in the house. We got Barry Markowitz here tonight. Barry, did you get the Osmo Nano? Let me know if you got the Osmo Nano. I'm really kind of curious about that because I haven't really seen a lot of feedback about it, and just really curious to see what people think about it. So, and again, that goes for anybody as well too. That if you got that as well too here. You know, when DJI's introduced a product and it's not been out a long time and they drop a discount on it, it's probably not selling real well. Well, that's what I think the case is with the Osmo 360. They did drop it down in price, $549 for the standard combo, $699 for adventure. Now, just a couple months later, DJI has done something almost unheard of, a massive 25% discount on the 360. The standard combo is down to $412.99. In the adventure combo, with an invisible selfie stick and multifunctional battery case, is just $524.99. Okay, here's the kicker. This is first major price cut since launch, and it's billed as a limited time deal. Once the inventory moves or runs out, the price bounce back is practically guaranteed. So if that's something that interests you, you can definitely go ahead and take a look at that. Ron, how are you today?
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight? And I'm looking forward to Steeler Nation tonight because the Steelers are in first place now.
Oh, I got so much to talk about that. It's not funny. Wow.
Well, just hang around, folks. We're going to be good later on.
But yeah, that's going to be
on this price cut on the DJI 360 camera. Well, of course, the GoPro just released their Max 2 360 camera this last week. So unlike drones where DJI doesn't have a lot of competition, they got the GoPro product. They have the Insta360 products. So the 360 camera market's not as easy to walk away with as it is in drones. It's competitive out there.
Yeah, and also too, and I said right before you joined me, was the fact it's probably been a slow seller for them. All right, and I, you know, anytime that you see this kind of a price drop not that long after release, meaning they want to prime the pump, they want to get some sales going with this. So I think that's.
Yeah,
you know,
and of course, GoPro came out. They undersold DJI and Insta360. They came in at a $499 price point, where DJI and Insta360 were about $550. So they undercut them by $50 on the price.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, by the way, Ron, Barry Markowitz is in the chat tonight.
Yeah, Barry, I saw when I heard back from him, he will get the Nano if they trade for DJI too. I know Barry already has the competing Insta360 product, the little Go Ultra. Is it, Bill? Is that what the new one called, the Ultra? Barry has the competing product from Insta360, the little POV wearable camera. He's a big fan of those little cameras, Bill.
Yeah, I know he really is. Like, I know when last I remember him being on it, I think it was probably he was probably on Drone Nation. He talked about the Action 2, and he really liked that. So, because I think he used it at the Olympics.
I
If I'm
believe he
wrong,
did
Gary,
over that was over in Korea, right?
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that's really kind of interesting there about that. I mean, and again, it said, when they run out of that inventory, that's it for the price drop. It'll go back up to normal price. And again, that really kind of just spurs me on to the fact that this is number one. It's twofold. It's a Kickstarter to get sales going, and then also in competition with GoPro and Insta360 as well
And
too.
remember, the problem for DJI is you can actually go to GoPro's website or Insta360's website and order their products directly from the company in the US. You cannot do that with DJI, right? You have to
That's
go get
right.
it on Amazon or some other eBay or some other thing. You can't order from the mothership like the other two companies allow US citizens to do.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, Ron, but the Action 4 has gotten a price cut.
Yes.
It's now for $239 in the US,
Yes.
down from $289, a $50 price cut on that. I think, and there's been a lot of talk about an Action 6 coming out as well too.
Right.
And every time that we see things like that, it prompts usually some of the previous models to go on sale, and here we are with this. I mean, that's a great price, $239 for that. That's fantastic.
It's a great camera, great price. And back to the the Action 6. I mean, we hear rumblings, but we haven't even seen any like good leaked photos, and we don't even have like an idea of specs. So I think we're far out in that, because we would have more of the buildup that you see on the Twitter, the leakers that hasn't really started yet, outside of them just mentioning it, but you haven't got any substance to those leaks. So I don't think we're at 6.
Yeah, Jasper or Igor would be having more information if it's been coming soon, and we really haven't seen a lot from them on this. Now, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's been an FCC filing on this or not, Ron. I don't know if I've seen that.
Not that I'm aware of, Bill, but
okay.
I'm not positive. And I think I think maybe why we're not seeing an Action 6 is they kind of, just like GoPro did with the Max 2, it looks like they're not releasing a Hero Black 14 because they put all their eggs in one basket with the Max 2, and DJI may have put all their eggs in one basket with that Nano you just talked about, Bill, the what Osmo Nano. So I think they put all the focus on that, because the Nanos, unlike other POV cameras, it's not a step down. People have done comparisons with the Nano and the Action 5s side by side, and it almost looks as good as the 5 Pro.
Exactly here. And here's probably one of the reasons why the 360 was on sale. GoPro takes on DJI with true 8K Max 2 camera release, and one of the big things is those lenses are swappable. I mean, they made it user swappable, Ron.
And Bill, even better than the Insta360 product, they were usable replaceable, but you needed like kind of a suction cup tool to get out. These just screw, and you don't even have to you don't have to watch a video. You don't have to learn anything to replace these. Remember, DJI kind of messed up for the consumers. They don't have user replaceable lenses. So I think that really hurt their camera release.
I agree, Ron. I mean, it's nice to be able to do this in the field, and everything I've seen about it, it really looks like, if this is your kind of camera, I think they really kind of hit a home run with this. I mean, it really answers a lot. It checks a lot of the boxes as far as features are concerned.
Yeah, GoPro may be back with this camera, huh?
It could be. So, and again, if that's something you guys want to read, go ahead out there on Bill Drone Viewer to go ahead and take a look at that as well too. Now, there's a few articles here, and I wanted to cover this because there's been some talk again here, about DJI status in the USA. And the first article here, and this was out on Drone DJ, and it was very interesting, different from some of the other ones. The question is asked: is DJI subsidized by the Chinese government? And I'm like, wow, that's a real attention grabber right there. DJI attributes its success to a blend of early market entry, relentless innovation, and strategic focus on accessibility and quality. Okay, DJI leads the market because it created it. You know, a lot of this is true here. Investment in R&D, supply chain integration. DJI's ability to scale operations and effectively integrate its supply chain further contribute to its success. Is DJI subsidized by the Chinese government? Here's DJI. DJI critics often cite one story in the media as proof of direct subsidy for the company. To be clear, DJI's majority ownership rests with our founding partners. The remaining investors are from the private sector, with the exception of less than a 6% stake and under 1% voting rights that are owned by several state-owned banks, one state-owned insurance company, and 2 municipal investment funds. These enterprises are the same as any institutional investor that purchases stock in a private company, regardless of where that company is headquartered. The equivalent investment in the United States would be a state-backed pension fund investing in U.S.-based technology companies. The investment is neither subsidy nor control and represents the same investor goal as every other interest. No government entity or representative sits on DJI's board or has any role in its operations here, okay? Contribution to the U.S. economy and future outlook. You know, I thought the timing of this was really interesting because if you went out on, and we're going to take a look at this next.
Bill, that statement's a reaction to them losing the court case last week.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm gonna be putting up here. Is there was a court case that DJI lost, and I want to cover this because I want people to understand what's going on here, and that this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction from a judge. Okay. The judge issued a 50-page ruling on this, okay? So this wasn't something the judge went to his chambers, 30 minutes later came out and said, no, you know, I'm ruling against DJI. And you have to read this here. U.S. District Judge Paul Friedman on Friday rejected DJI's lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Defense, which sought to remove the Shenzhen-based drone giant from the Pentagon's official list of Chinese military companies. For the world's largest drone manufacturer and thousands of American drone pilots, the decision is more than just legal paperwork. It's about whether DJI drones, which dominate skies everywhere, from construction sites to neighborhood parks, can keep flying freely in the U.S. Okay, let's start with the basics. You know, and I'm not going to go over the basics here, but I do want to cover DJI's argument. We're not military owned. DJI sued in October 2024, claiming the DoD decision was unlawful and misguided. The company has long insisted it's neither owned nor controlled by the Chinese military. In fact, DJI stressed it doesn't manufacture drones for combat, has policies against military use, and designs its products for commercial and consumer markets. The drones you see filming weddings, surveying rooftops, or monitoring crops. Okay, DJI even pointed to what it saw as unfair treatment. Companies like Volkswagen, China, or Nokia Bell also received Chinese government subsidies and hold state designations, yet they weren't blacklisted. Why us and not them was essentially the message. Judge didn't buy DJI's plea. His 49-page opinion lays out the reasoning. The central issue, DJI's recognition as a national enterprise technology center by China's powerful National Development and Reform Commission. That designation isn't just a gold star. It comes with subsidies, special tax breaks, and financial support from multiple levels of government. To the judge, that amounted to receiving assistance from the Chinese government under Section 1260H. In U.S. law, that's enough to make DJI a military civil fusion contributor, an item that covers companies straddling civilian innovation and potential military use. And because DJI's drones clearly have substantial dual-use applications, meaning they can serve civilian markets but also be adapted for battlefield surveillance or even modified to drop explosives, the court found it reasonable to call DJI part of China's defense industrial base. DJI countered it does not sell to militaries and that plenty of Western companies also receive government subsidies. But the judge ruled the Pentagon has broad discretion to decide who goes on the list and who doesn't. In other words, the government can put company X on the blacklist while leaving company Y off, even if their situations look similar. That argument was a big blow to DJI's case. What this means for U.S. drone pilots, the clouds are gathering. Placement on the list has already shut out DJI of U.S. government contracts starting in 2026. All right? And for drone pilots, that raises some uncomfortable questions. What happens if future ban limits DJI's ability to sell or update drones in the U.S.? What if spare parts or software gets hard to access? Well, we've seen hints of this already. DJI isn't throwing in the towel. In a statement, the company said was disappointed the court nonetheless upheld the listing, emphasizes that the decision rested on a single rationale that applies to many companies have never been listed. DJI added that it's reviewing its legal options, which could include an appeal. The company also struck a defiant tone. DJI's success is built on relentless innovation, and the market continues to choose our products and their reliability, safety, and accessibility. We remain committed to serve our U.S. customers and partners, and we call for fair competition in the United States. And it talks about tech wars here. What are your thoughts about all this, Ron?
Well, one thing, I don't know if this is a Drone XL, but Drone XL article even mentioned that at the end, the judge even admitted that the evidence proving that they were a Chinese military corporation, what he said it wasn't bulletproof. So even the judges, he makes a ruling that says the evidence isn't bulletproof. So I think the deck was stacked here. You had some worrying about the government, having the right to put anybody they want in this list, and it looks like they do. And even if it can't be fought legally, so the deck was stacked against DJI coming in. A judge won't rule against the government's decision, even if the evidence is not conclusive.
Yeah, and the example that they put up there, with Volkswagen and Nokia, it's very similar to what's going on with DJI, but yet they didn't rule against them; they ruled against DJI. So it's like they have a target on their back, Ron. Okay, DJI does, and it's kind of like, and I'm going to bring up Huawei, all right, because it was shown, okay, and the big difference between DJI and Huawei phones were shown to have security violations. Okay, they
opened up and found the chips in the routers and stuff. More the routers in the phones, I believe.
Exactly. Okay. And that was enough. The FCC says, time out, wait a minute here. No, this isn't kosher. And then that stopped the process.
That was on physical evidence, not just on maybe they had the stuff in them.
Yeah. Okay. This wasn't circumstantial. This was concrete proof. Okay. There was absolutely no doubt that this actually happened. All right.
And that's why there's no U.S. government examination of DJI drones, because they know they'll find nothing, and that'll make their case look worse.
Yeah. Okay. Here's and one of the big things that I've seen a lot of people have had, and I know Vic Moss has talked about it, and some other ones have talked about this as well too, is the fact, okay, what other country has done this in the world? Okay. In the world, nobody. Yeah. Nobody else has done this. Okay. No. And, it goes back, and I'm not going to rehash this because, it's like everybody knows it's going to go back to that argument. Well, we're talking about our good friend from Skydio and his cronies and everything.
Yeah. Lobbyists. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ron, okay, I understand it to a point, but, and the other part of the argument is, companies like UPS and Amazon and Walmart, they want to do drone deliveries, so they want to keep the skies free and everything. You know what? It's more than that. Okay. I think something's in the works. All right. As far as a startup company here in the United States, and they want to give them all the attention front and center. They want to get funding for them. And that's a school of thought that I've seen.
And Bill, if drones are so important to the American government, why did they start these efforts up 10 years ago before DJI got a giant lead?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's even go back just a couple of years here, okay? As far as all this is concerned, all right. And it's been proven time and time again, when Stefaniak started all this nonsense a couple of years ago, all right, it's been proven over time and time again by big 8 accounting firms, Price Waterhouse. My gosh, it doesn't get, I mean, if you know anything about accounting, it doesn't get any better than them, okay, as far as accounting is concerned, all right? Pass their audit. I mean, that's not a small thing, Ron, because I know, because my roommate was a CPA and from college. And, if you can pass an audit from Price Waterhouse, all right, you're good as
Yeah.
gold. All right.
Yeah, remember Stefanik and her crew. They don't let any evidence or facts get in the way of their argument.
Facts? What are
They don't
facts?
want to
We
hear
don't need
facts
those.
evidence. Yeah,
We don't need facts. We don't need facts. So
yeah.
yeah.
We're,
So
we're,
this is
we're the government. We have all the votes. I can get enough people to vote for what I want because I'm going to promise to vote for what they want next time around.
well, you know what? And let me say this, and we're gonna kind of get into a segue here because I want to talk. I want to talk about the Mini 5
Yes.
Pro, and I know you
I got a lot to
have an
say,
article that you want to talk about here. But one of the first things that I wanted to say was when I got this and fired it up, the first firmware update, okay, it took about 12 to 13 minutes because it was not only for the drone, it was also for the controller as well too. And I mean, it restarted about 4 or 5 times. I mean, it took a good chunk, like about 12, 13 minutes for this to go. One of the nice things, and I don't know, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this though, is the charger. It's a parallel charger, so the batteries charge simultaneously, which is wonderful.
Two batteries will charge at once.
Right, 2 batteries will charge at once, which is fantastic.
Now,
Absolutely.
how powerful of a power brick did you need for that to happen, Bill?
I used the DJI 65-watt power brick.
Okay, so 65 watts is sufficient. Okay, good.
Yeah, it took about 2 hours to get the controller and all 3 batteries charged, which I thought was pretty good for 2 hours worth. Okay,
yeah.
I thought that was pretty decent.
Were you charging them plus batteries or the regular batteries, Bill?
Plus, I don't have the regular batteries.
The regular batteries would have charged faster.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. And I also wanted to let people know, because I know one of the things, and I did this on purpose, was I ordered a 4th battery, okay, and that should be here in a couple of weeks in middle October. And props, I ordered props as well too. Those should be here coming up within the next week or so. But what's real interesting, Ron,
from South Korea?
No, they're both from China. And guess what?
Oh,
no tariff on each, okay? And I ordered them both from China. Had I ordered them from South Korea, there would have been a tariff on them.
Crazy. Hey, that's crazy, but listen, go to the Drone Okie's first comment about 2 more comments back from that. The plus batteries will not charge in parallel, and he said it's in the manual. I did hear that. So you won't be able to use that charging at the same time with your plus batteries. That only works with the standard batteries, Bill.
With the standard, okay. Thank you. That's thank you, Johnny.
Good information, Joe.
Yeah. So Ron, go ahead and share. I know you wanted to talk about the Mini 5 Pro and return to home.
Yeah, well, actually, remote ID.
Remote ID. I'm sorry.
There's been a lot of speculation out there that these drones coming from South Korea, Japan, China do not have remote ID in them. So Lou Drone Angels, I don't know, is Lou in here tonight? He's in these chats a lot. He's in Brigantine, which is just an hour north of me at the Jersey Shore. So he came over yesterday. We met at Lucy the Elephant, Bill, and he brought an Android phone over that had the drone scanner app on it. So I took the Mavic 4 Pro up, and it was up in air, like a minute or so, showed right up on drone scanner. We could see it. I flew it around a little bit. He tracked it all around. He tracked where the drone was, and I was on the drone scanner. So the Mavic 4 Pro definitely has broadcast remote ID, even if you buy it from one of these South Korean type countries. But then he recently purchased the Mini 5 Pro, and he's never put a plus battery in it. He only has the normal batteries, right? So he took that off. And within seconds, it was much faster than Mavic 4. It showed his broadcast remote ID. So what that tells us, Bill, is the Mini 5 Pro broadcast remote ID all the time, nonstop, no matter what battery you have in it. So if your goal was to fly a drone that won't broadcast remote ID, the Mini 5 Pro is not the drone for you, because it'll broadcast even on standard batteries straight out of the box.
That's a great point, Ron. Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
And I will have the video. We shot a video on it, and I'm editing that video. Hopefully, I will get that video out tomorrow. It's a short video. And another fact that Johnny just sent me before the show here, it's been a lot of speculation about whether the Mini 5 Pro has ADSB. Am I saying it right, Bill? The technology
ADSB,
flying over. Well, Johnny confirmed that it does not have ADS-B on it, like we see on our like the Mini 4 Pro had, and the Air series drones and the Mavics. So that could be a bit of a con.
Well, that's something that they could add as a firmware update, to add that on there, because that's firmware. That's not, that really is what it is, because it needs to receive that signal from other aircraft to turn on ADS-B. So I mean,
look what Joe Noki was saying there. He said he tested today and it did not broadcast. Well, again, the Mini 5 Pro that Lou had, it barely took off. These drones have to be in the air, Bill. You can't test the drone in the ground. But I mean, within seconds of it taking off, we could see it right there. We could see it broadcast remote ID and drone scanner. We were using drone scanner, Drone Oki.
Awesome.
On a I don't know what model Android phone. And Johnny's saying, here he's saying in the chat, he does not have ADS-B or whatever. So that's kind of interesting, Bill. You say it could be added in firmware, but the Mavic 3, Mavic 4, Air 3, Air 3S, I think even Air 2S and Mini 4 Pro all had it out of the box, Bill. Right, day one it was there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ron. So, I think you're right here.
That's kind of odd.
And it looks like from what this article talks about, the Mini 5 Pro has gimbal roll rotation. It's like the Mavic 4 Pro. Take a look here. The Mini 5 Pro was released. We all thought we knew everything thanks to the endless leaks. But DJI kept one incredible feature up its sleeve: the ability to rotate the entire camera and gimbal assembly up to 225 degrees during a flight. It was a gift inherited directly from his massive, expensive uncle, the Mavic 4 Pro. Let me tell you, it's a game changer. And I think I saw some footage on this already before I even saw this article here about that. And I think you probably saw it too, Ron.
Yeah, it looks really good. In fact, the 225 roll looks better than the 360 roll in the Mavic 4 Pro. Well, you don't have to do 360, but the 225 is all the roll you need. And this wasn't kept that quiet, Bill. Remember, we saw it in the last couple of weeks before release. We just did not know what it meant when it said 225 degree, whatever. The number was there. We just didn't know what it meant, Bill.
Exactly. And and you can see right here, there's some tips on there. Mix it with other gimbal moves, combine with drone movement, use cruise control, adjust your speed, shoot in high frame rates. A single feature, a rotating gimbal on a Mirror Series drone. It's a perfect example why I love DJI. They take a high-end professional feature from their most expensive flagship and find a way to put it on their smallest, most accessible drone. It's a brilliant and powerful of creative technology right there. So, I mean, that was fantastic that DJI put that on there, Ron. I think that was a great move for them.
Yeah. But let's not get too carried. Let's not get too carried away. Somebody saying putting their lowest drone. Remember, the Mini drone started out as like a $400 drone with a Mini 1. Now it's like $1,000 drone. So these Minis aren't our father's Minis. These Minis are they cost a lot more than they did in the old days.
Yeah, they really did here. Now this article here from Drone XL, the author says DJI Mini 5 Pro's first flight, the best drone yet. And you can take a look at some pictures on here, which are some absolutely fantastic at night. The low light capability is fantastic on this, Ron.
At the low light, yep.
It really is. Small details, big improvements. Manually move the joystick to the center position and push up on the left stick. Automatically screen. Press the takeoff button, the screen, and then press and hold until the circle completes automatically. Press the takeoff button, and then instead of holding the screen, press the C1 button. Okay. The small, for example, auxiliary light is what they're talking about here. High altitude performance check. Drone was announced as the fastest Mini yet regarding flight speed, ascent speed, and charging speed. Couldn't test the charging speed. The ascent speed, however, was announced to be 10 meters per second. In my test, the drone behaved better than the previous Minis, but still fell short, only 7.5 per second. Here, I'm also about to do a battery hover test as well, too.
Well, remember, Bill, these speed tests are kind of like the battery length tests or whatever. You're never going to hit the number
Well, what was real interesting, Ron, what was
Pardon?
real interesting was, after I powered it up, of course, I powered it on, to do the firmware updates and everything. And then, I went through and I like to do my calibrations. I'm just kind of anal about that. I think I've always
Old school, huh?
old school. I know Lauren said it a few years ago, just go in there and get it done and do it. And I did. Well, one of the things that was really interesting was, and this was less than 5 minutes after the firmware update and it's on and everything. Inside the house, 22 satellites. And that was inside the house, right in the kitchen. 22 satellites. Said it could take off.
Lou had 38 satellites at one point.
Yeah, I never have, because I've powered on obviously, we all power our drones on inside the house and fire it up and hook it up with the controller and test things out and things. But almost always, it's like can't take off, no satellites, that kind of thing. 22. It's like, and I'm not even, it's like 15 feet from the door. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
You're not even trying. Yeah.
I'm not even trying with this. It's wow. That's just absolutely crazy.
When I tried to fly that little V-copter first time, I had to walk it all over the street for it to get enough satellites to take off. I had to walk around holding it above my head, hoping it would lock some satellites in.
Well, one of the things that people were really just, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to acknowledge this here. Okay. They had an article, Transport Canada clears DJI Mini 5 Pro despite weight variance concerns. Okay. And there's an article about this that Hay wrote, and I'll definitely let you guys read this. And I think Ron knows this as well too. The reason they found out for this, it was like this big mystery, and then it was solved just like that. DJI added a speaker to the Mini 5 Pro. And the speaker, it's not a PA kind of speaker. It was for the startup sound that DJI has. Every time you do that, somebody thought it was a great idea to put this speaker in there. And one of the articles that I saw, Ron, it was actually quite humorous. It talked about how a lot of DJI engineers, they get paid to save weight with these drones. Okay. Anytime they can shave off weight in something like this and naturally do that, it's a boost for them. And then they go ahead and they add this speaker. Okay. Now, from what I hear and from unofficial sources is they're going to stop putting that in there and it'll still be able to make that sound. Okay. So, stay tuned for all of that. But, the European agency and now Transport Canada says, that this isn't a problem as far as tolerances are concerned, which, I didn't see people go back, but I wondered about the Mini 4 Pro. That kind of thing. Did that fit the scale?
That was weighed many times, and a few people weighted over, but more often than not, it got weighed at 249 grams or less.
Yeah. So it's really kind of a non-issue as far as that was concerned here. Okay. Now, Sean did a great video, and I did not get to see it, but everybody had some good comments about it. But I did want to talk about this here. Is the Mini 5 Pro next gen return to home demonstration? Okay,
it is a good one.
And you want to catch this because Sean. And see, the thing I love, Ron, about
he took it from under a tree canopy out into the wild and then brought it back. And he did a second time where it came under the tree canopy and had to turn a quarter and it still landed on the pad.
Yeah. That is just absolutely amazing to do that. Okay. It's absolutely fantastic. Now I'm going to test it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off inside my garage. Okay.
Right.
And then, watch it come back in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it with Valerie's, with her. I'm going to make sure her car's out, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to take off like facing my truck right away and then go to the side and then come out because I wanted to test it to see if it comes in, stops when, it sees my truck and then scoots around it and then lands on a landing pad. So
that'll be cool. Have you got to fly yet, Bill?
No, I did not, Ron. It's just my work has been absolutely crazy this past weekend. Saturday we paid bills, and then Sunday grocery shopping and football, and boom. There's my weekend.
There's a weekend going. Hey, Mark White points out in the chat that the speaker weighs 1.8 grams.
Okay. The drone does talk to you. Yeah, Mark, it does. I just, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe when I
Yeah.
go out
Yeah.
in the field and I want to listen to a little music, I could just play it over the Mini 5 Pro speaker.
All right. And see what Joe just posted here. Johnny did a return home test today and we were not impressed. Did not follow the takeoff path coming back. Just saying.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you, Joe, for posting that. That's
Well,
interesting.
Johnny needs to trade his in for the one that Sean from Air Photography has.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that worked without a hitch. I did see one of the pictures from it, although I didn't watch the video with that. So all in all, so Ron, the $60,000 question is, have you ordered your Mini 5 Pro yet?
Well, I'm still looking around, trying to get the right price and the right kit and everything, for my needs here. As many of them as they're readily available, and still trying to find one that fits my needs at the price I want.
Well, I was impressed with this seller because, I chose the seller because they said that they absorbed the tariff on there, and
Right.
the shipping time was absolutely fantastic. In fact, well, what was interesting was I ordered the Mavic 4 Pro 2 days later than the Mini 5 Pro, and you know what? They both came at the same time. FedEx had both of them. The driver dropped them off both at the same time when he brought them to the door. So
same seller.
And that was a different seller. It was the DW Store 13. I got the Mavic 4 Pro from. But yeah, and then they had a business card, and then on top of that, they had an adapter, like a European adapter. If I needed that on top, they included with that, which was good.
Now which drone is this, Bill?
That's the Mavic 4 Pro.
Okay, yeah. 4 Pro. I got. He put the business card in mine, and of course, I got that whole box. I got the box full of adapters for every country in the world inside.
Wow.
And I don't know. I guess maybe from Japan, because Marcus got it too, but not everybody gets that box. Maybe South Korea doesn't send it, but you get a little thing in there, adapter for every country in the world. I'll have to show the box.
Okay.
I think I showed the box off in my unboxing.
Yeah, Dale's drone. That's who I got. The Mavic 4 Pro from, was the DW guy.
Hey, Bill, this is just an observation here, but it seems like, Bill, the people who ordered, we'll say the Mini 5, probably Mavic 4 the same way, but Mini 4, the people that ordered Mini 4 with free shipping, when they got free shipping on it, they seem to be the one that have to pay the tariffs and duties. But the people that paid shipping, and sometimes shipping can be $100, they seem not to be charged any tariff or duty. So it's one of those things, you're going to get hit either way, whether you want to just pay the shipping up front and not have to worry about the tariffs, or whether you want to go free shipping but have to pay, like Johnny had to pay, like I think he said $47 and something like 2 cents or something like that, or whatever. So you're going to pay one way or the other, just no matter how you want to do it, Bill.
Yeah, and Jamie's question
is, when you ordered on eBay, you could get that AllState insurance.
Yeah, I did do that.
And Jamie, whether that's any good or not, I have no idea, but it is available if you order from eBay.
Now, it's run by Square Trade, and Square Trade's been around for a long time. That's who AllState contracts it through. So, and everybody that said that's using, because they're out on Amazon. Okay, like when you buy something on Amazon, they offer Square Trade for their protection plan, and sometimes Asurion on Amazon. But I know Square Trade; they've been around a long time, and people have had good results.
They've been insuring camera gear long before there were drones.
And that John Rocker, State Farm is best. I got to contact my agent. It's like, okay,
Bill, how once you float a drone, will State Farm still insure it?
I think that's why I want to go ahead and shoot them an email. What's interesting is the guy who I deal with, the agency who I deal with, he has like 30 people that work for him. Okay, the guy has a gold mine. All right, number one, and you deal with people, and there are certain people that handle the personal articles policy for him. All right, and you have to deal with them. And then it's a kind of it's not, you call them up and want to add something kind of a thing. What I want to do is I want to call them up want to say what's on there because they probably have some things that I need to take off, like the Mavic 3 Pro. Probably the Air 3 is probably still on there. I probably still have my Spectre Air, and I did spell. Oh yeah, I sold the Spectre Mini this week. Okay, that finally finally sold. And what's real interesting is, and a lot of people, and I wanted to get this out there, and before I forget, is the Spectre. You can still buy the batteries for the Mini and the Air on Amazon. However, the drones are not for sale out there, and I haven't. I'm going to reach out to my contact to see what's going on with that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Now, there was another article, and I didn't post it, but I wanted to talk about it. Was apparently DJI is starting up some more shell companies out there to try to sell drones through them as well too. They talked about the Hover or the SkyRover, which we had Rick Smith on. He talked about that as well. And there's a couple other ones that are out there that people have done some digging and have tied it back to DJI. So, I don't know if this is.
I think Jovi Star is the one that popped up over the weekend in the articles. Jovi Star, I think it was called, the shell company.
Jamie, yeah, it depends on the seller. Okay, whether they offer it or not. I mean, that's all I can tell you. But you can call. You can get the policy independent of what it says out on eBay. Okay, you can look up AllState protection plans or Square Trade and go out there and get that on your own. It doesn't necessarily, you have to purchase it at the time that you purchase the drone. So go out there and take a look. Now, I know I've dropped a link in the description here for the video about the protection plan. So please go and click on that link and check that out as well too. And if you have State Farm in your area, call and see if they will honor personal articles policy. I've heard a lot of people say yes, they will honor that. Okay, and I heard originally,
if you're going to use State Farm, would you call a local agent or would you do it online at the website? What do you think would be better?
I would call a local agent because when you call them at their number or try to do it online, it probably can get convoluted that way. Because I think different agencies handle things differently. And he's been very generous, and his staff have been very generous. In fact, on my personal articles policy, I cover like my 80-inch big screen TV as well in here. All my laptops, my monitors. I pay a pretty good chunk for it on an annual basis, but I have peace of mind. It's full replacement coverage. There's no deductible on this, which is wonderful. So
John Rocker, he agrees with you. Go to a local agent. Don't do it on the website.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that you want to do. You want to go through your local agent. So we're going to stop. We're done with drone talk. Okay. So this is the part of the show where we're talking about football, NFL football from the previous.
And I just want to mention the Pittsburgh Steelers played the first game ever in Dublin, Ireland. And they came out victorious. The only bad thing is that their backup quarterback got mugged out on the street the night before the game.
Yeah, Skylar Thompson. He got
formerly with the Dolphins or whatever. But I guess he went down to where the bars were or whatever, and they probably told him to stay away from that rough area. But he got himself mugged down there.
Well, there are. I think there's a pub about every half block in Dublin, Ireland. So. People
say a football player got mugged. Well, Skylar Thompson is probably the smallest man on the team. He's probably 6 foot, 180. So, and I know that's probably big in real life, but in football, it's small. He should have taken somebody like Cam Hayward with him. I bet you nobody would have jumped him then, right?
Or TJ Watt. You take somebody like
Could you imagine somebody jumping TJ Watt?
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I got to say this. All right. Anytime the Steelers get a win, I'm always happy when the Steelers win, Ron. Okay.
Right.
But I'll tell you what. All right. Again. All right. 4th down, less than a foot. What do you do, Ron?
It's a quarterback sneaker running right into the line.
Yeah. Okay. What does Tomlin do? He punts.
Well, that was the thing to do 20 years ago, but this is new NFL. You got to score all the time because the other team's going to do it.
This is a direct quote from him, which I put out on the Steeler page. Okay. We don't live in our fears. Okay. Oh, okay, Mike. Then what was that? All right.
That sounds
And
like
then
something Franklin Roosevelt would have said during World War II or something.
and his clock management, Ron. Oh my gosh. All right. Because I watched, because the game was on NFL Network. I could see the whole
You didn't
game.
miss this
I
one.
was like doing this half the game. I'm like, really? Okay.
No, I already forget who were they playing.
The Vikings.
Vikings.
Okay.
Who that's a team, that's a team that could have beat them. So they weren't playing some bottom of the barrel team. They were playing a team that could beat it, but they were playing with their backup quarterback, Wentz.
Yeah. And then Dre, yes, I still am on the Fire Tomlin bandwagon. And I'm going to say this. It has absolutely nothing to do with the color of his skin. It has everything to do with his ability to coach. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, one of my favorite coaches in the NFL is Todd Bortles, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. I would do cartwheels to have him be head coach of the Steelers. Okay. Do cartwheels because he knows what he's talking about.
Tampa's not going to let him go, Bill.
Oh, no, they won't let him go because they know they got somebody good. Okay. And Rooney with Tomlin, my gosh. Okay. The guy is, there are two things that Mike Tomlin does well. And my friends agree with me. One, his word salad, okay? And you know why he's so good with his word salad, Ron? He majored in English in college, okay? Yeah. That's why he's so good with that. And the other thing is,
Bill, why don't you promote him to announcer then? Promote him from coach to announcer.
Yeah. He should, he should go the way of Bill Cowher. The NFL Today, get him on there.
Be a talking head between games or after games, right?
Get him on ESPN, get him on Fox or whatever. Have him be a talking head. Sit at the table. Get his $10 million a year. Ron, do you know how much he makes a year?
Yeah, I hate to
$20 million a year.
He's had the job forever, so the longer you're there, the more you make.
I mean, like I said, my one friend said, yeah, there's something else he does good besides word salad. Was he go to the Steelers office to pick up his paycheck each week? I'm like, man.
I do want to shout out, Bill, that your running back Warren. What's Warren's first name? Your running back, been there for a few years.
Jalen
Warren.
Jalen Warren.
He couldn't play. Something happened. He was going to play, but before the game, he couldn't go. So ex Philadelphia Eagles running back Gainwell gets his chance to shine. Gainwell ran for almost 100 yards and caught a bunch of passes. Gainwell was one of the stars of the game for the Steelers.
Yeah, he played pretty well. But then again, Tomlin's out there puffing his chest, saying, look at our defense. We have one of the best defenses. In the fourth quarter, Ron, it was like walking through warm butter, okay? The Vikings just marched down the field. If they had more time, as I told one of my Steeler friends, if they had more time, they would have tied the game up, and they probably would have won, okay?
And remember this, Bill, they were going against a quarterback, Wentz, who's been like on a 6th team in 6 years or whatever. You know what I mean? They weren't faced like a quarterback that's anything. Again, he's bounced all around the league.
He's a journeyman quarterback, Ron. He's like Flacco. Flacco's going from team to team to team. Same with him, okay? Yeah, it's like, where's he going to land this week kind of a thing.
Hey, watch out, Bill. He could be a Steeler. He's kind of candidate for the Steelers, right? Somebody they could bring in next year in the future.
You know what? The Steelers are going to have a good week this week because it's their bye week, all right?
Yeah,
which is good for them. Oh, and then the other thing was, all right, and this just absolutely floored me, all right, was that the Ravens got pounded by the Chiefs. I mean, and Lamar Jackson got.
Remember the time when the Ravens had a good defense? Well, guess what? They don't make defense at all now.
Oh, no, their defense is absolutely horrible. So it's going to make these games against the Steelers interesting, okay? Because both teams don't really have a defense.
Well, hopefully you can play the Ravens before the quarterback gets back.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. Yeah.
Because their backup quarterback is the old Cowboy Copper Rush, who's a good backup quarterback, but he's strictly backup. I mean, Copper's not going to go out there and do any plays or whatever,
Oh, yeah. So it's, I think Lamar Jackson, I think he'll be back by the time that they because obviously Steelers have to play them twice. So
Right.
that's going to be a real just wow. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about that, Ron.
Get your popcorn out for those games for all the scores,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's good. Those are going to be real barn burners here. Okay. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, the Steelers are 3-1. They're leading the division. And I'm like, okay, let's take a look and see who they beat here. These powerhouses, they beat the powerhouse New York Jets. They beat the powerhouse New England Patriots. And they beat the powerhouse Minnesota Vikings.
Well, the Vikings, who are a good team, but they don't have their starting quarterback.
Right. Vikings are a decent team. Okay. But no starting quarterback. Okay. So, yeah. I
So
mean,
these aren't the when he has that winning record and scrapes the playoffs, he won't be facing those teams in playoff game number 1. None of these teams are going to be there that day.
Well, the meat of their schedule's coming up. They got to play the Bills up in Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aren't they undefeated?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, they're going to go. It's their last season at their old stadium, and they've been playing like a house of fire this year.
Josh Allen is Aaron Rodgers licking his chops, looking at the Steelers defense tape or whatever.
Well, and one of my friends put it so well, and I think you guys probably remember the phrase. He's held together by rubber bands and Elmer's glue. Okay. As far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned.
Well, I mean, so far so good. How about your ex-Steeler quarterback? What's his name with the Giants? Russell Wilson. He didn't even make it 3 games before they benched him in New York for the rookie.
He got benched, and Jackson Dart came in, and he won. Okay, go figure that. All right.
So there you go. So, the guy that was the Steelers starter last year didn't even make it 3 games with one of the worst teams in the league. Right? The Giants only win. They're one of the bottom of the barrel teams, and he went 0-3 with them. So it's under. Why the Steelers got rid of him now, but you also wonder, well, why didn't they see this in the first place? What did the rest of the league do that Wilson was done? What did the Steelers see that tell them that he wasn't done last year?
Yeah, it just kind of boggles my mind here. And you know who I think really
Wilson overall. In Wilson's prime, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. If he was prime, you get him right away or whatever. But he's far past that prime, Bill.
Yeah, he needs to hang out the spikes. You know who I feel bad for is Justin Fields. Okay, if he'd have stayed with the Steelers, okay, and if he had a coach that knew what he was doing, okay, and especially an offensive coordinator that knew what he was doing, could mold him into a good quarterback because he has good talent and good raw skills. Okay,
he had a good game this weekend for the Jets.
He did, but he's with the Jets. I mean, it's like,
and he did light the Steelers defense up in week 1, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He tore.
Wasn't that the crazy game where the kicker had to kick a 60-yard field goal to win it or whatever?
Yeah, with less than 10 seconds left.
But Fields. They talked about Rodgers that game throwing the 4 touchdowns, but Fields lit the Steelers up.
Yeah. It's just, I'm glad it's a bye week for the Steelers. I mean,
well, they don't. They're 3-1. They don't even need the bye, right? They should have.
Yeah, they don't need the bye right now. Well, they really don't have anybody who's really, they don't have a lot of what I would call devastating injuries. I mean, minor bumps and bruises, that kind of thing, stuff that people can come back from. So, it's always good to rest up an additional week. But, I'm just still, I don't know if you saw this. You know who went over for the game? Jerome Bettis and Ben Roethlisberger were there.
I didn't see that.
There was a picture of them standing on the sidelines for the game. Good. I'm like, I just enough said. Okay. Ron, I was preaching to the choir. And everybody got sick of me saying this. And this was like 3 or 4 years before Ben retired. I said, you know what? They need to get somebody now, and they need to start grooming him to replace Big Ben. Okay. Everybody's like, Ben's playing well, blah, blah, blah. I said, they need to start doing this. Okay. Or I said, we're going to be in quarterback purgatory again, like we were when Bradshaw retired till Big Ben stepped on the field for the first time. By the way, you know what I saw a video clip of, Ron? When he came in the very first game he came in, when Tommy Maddox got hurt, okay, and Ben Roethlisberger came in, they still lost the game against Baltimore, but I think he led like 2 or 3 touchdown drives to do that.
Right.
And then the next weekend, they played in Miami, and it was like a deluge. And the field was muddy, and he won. Okay, he came back and he won. And they went to the Super Bowl that year. I mean, it was pretty crazy what happened that season. His first season in the NFL, and and it goes to show. And now, of course, a different head coach. Coach knew what he was doing. Cough, cough. That kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, look at Green Bay, for instance. When Rodgers was still there and playing well, they drafted Jordan Love. He sat behind Rodgers for a couple years. Rodgers gets traded to Jets. Love steps in, and Green Bay hasn't missed a beat because they already had the young quarterback in the wings for a couple years, learn the game.
Yeah.
And speaking of Green Bay, did you see Sunday night, the Green Bay-Dallas game? It was a 40-40 tie, the highest tie score in NFL history.
I didn't know that. I knew it was tied.
They went to overtime, and now the overtime, that old rule where if you scored a TD right away, the game was over. That doesn't apply any longer. Both teams get the ball now, like the playoffs. So Green Bay won the coin flip, but they elected to give the ball to Dallas. Dallas gets all the way down the 4-yard line, but they can't get it, so they got to kick the field goal. Green Bay gets the ball back. They almost messed up. Love threw the ball when he didn't really have time. It was 1 second on the clock, and that's debatable. A lot of people say that 1 second ticked away. The field goal kicker comes in, he ties the game as it's going out, and they don't have a second overtime in the regular season. But 40-40 was the highest tied game in NFL
wow.
history. And I mean, Bill, it'd be like a Steeler game to you. Like Dallas wasn't doing anything in the beginning game, and somewhere in the second quarter they blocked the extra point. How often do you see an extra point block? And they ran it all the way back. You know what happens when you run an extra point block all the way back? You get 2 points. I even know that. They said it hadn't happened in years or whatever. But from that point on, it woke Dallas up. I think they scored on almost every drive the rest of the game, whether it's a touchdown or field goal or they turned over. But they just went on a scoring streak the rest of the game. And of course, Green Bay had to keep up with them or whatever. So what started out as a kind of a boring game, looking like it was going to be a Green Bay blowout, turned out to be one of the best games you've ever seen, Bill.
Oh yeah. That really does sound.
And Dallas did all this for their best player, CeeDee Lamb. They even play. They did that without. And guess who had a big monster game? Pickens. Pickens stepped up and played like a star. He had 2 touchdowns, a whole bunch of catches, like 130 yards and whatever. But the difference is, CeeDee Lamb works with him or whatever. Lamb's always on his case or whatever. Pickens, remember how he used to act kind of funny in Pittsburgh?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's on him the whole time. Lamb doesn't let him get away with anything or whatever. So they got him reined in over there. I guess he didn't get that type of leadership in Pittsburgh where somebody's got to drill him in.
And I'll say it again, Ron. All right. In a couple of cases, AB, Antonio Brown. Now, I really think what happened when he got hit by Burfict against the Bengals in the playoff game. Yeah. I really think he had, unfortunately, I think he got some brain damage. I really do. Because, it was after that, he just started going downhill.
It wasn't like he was the same person anymore. Yeah.
No, he was not the same person since then. And he started doing some really strange things. All right. But Le'Veon Bell, okay, he was spouting his mouth off about wanting, big fat contract and all this. The Rooneys weren't budging. He ends up going to the Jets. He falls flat on his face. All right. Well, part of the thing was, and it's a well-known and it's well documented. All right. Tomlin is a team. He's a player's player. Player's coach. All right. Yeah. He buddy with everybody on the team. Okay. He never calls anybody out on the team. All right. He never disciplines anyone on the team. And it's the old saying is, spare the rod, spoil the child. I disciplined my kids while they were growing up. One of them turned out okay. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the thing. You got to discipline sometimes.
He comes from the Barry Switzer School of Coaching.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody's buddy. All that kind of stuff. You know what? That don't fly. Okay. you gotta call some people in and hold them accountable and stuff. All right. And what was it? And I saw this, and it was one of the linemen that played for Bill Cowher, and said, you knew when he came into that room, okay, all the commotion, everything stopped, okay, because when he spoke, we listened to him. All right. And Joey Porter, he would stand back from him because Cowher would be so vehement. All right. And Cowher would spit. You couldn't get close to Cowher because he'd spit on you. But he got in your, and there was no, I mean, you can see video highlights of him. He would go up and down the sidelines during a game. If somebody screwed up, he let them know about it in no uncertain terms, okay? And you make that mistake once, you make them twice, you're no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler.
He's for the Chuck Noll school coaching.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was no question about that. Oh, Mike Tomlin, he's just there like this, standing there with his hands folded and just listening. And
never takes that headset off.
Never takes the headset off. And you know what? He's been wearing the same hoodie for like the last 3 or 4 games. Okay, it's the same hoodie. Somebody goes,
that must be his lucky hoodie.
Somebody goes, I hope he's washing it. I'm just like, come on here. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
All you can say is 3-1, and we'll see what happens in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got the cream of the crop of the schedules coming up, so it's really,
Well, at least Tomlin has a while to get his game plans ready. Bill, he can get game plan it all out.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what he's probably doing this week? He's probably helping his wife with her T-shirt business. Okay. His wife owns a T-shirt business. I kid you not. And you know what the T-shirts are? They're all Mike Tomlin sayings. Okay. Yeah. One dog.
Can I order a standard T-shirt, Bill?
Yeah. Okay. 2 dogs, 1 bone. All right. That's on a T-shirt. And that's one of the things he tells the players. 2 dogs, 1 bone. Okay. And then another one, the standard is the standard. I just laugh. I'm like,
that's the one I want. Hey, can you imagine me walking around, people saying, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out myself too. So any closing thoughts, Ron, before we wrap things up?
No, it's just the Mini 5 is such a it's such a good drone, but it's such a drone rabble in mysteries, because we have some people say it has ASDB, some people say it doesn't, some people show remote ID, others don't, some people weigh it different. It's a drone that's kind of all over the place. And I've been talking to the Gorilla Man a lot lately, and he bought the drone, and he's been talking to DJI support, and they tell him one thing, and then the next day, everything he told him is proved wrong. So you can't even get a straight answer from DJI on these subjects, weight, remote ID, ADSB, or whatever. Like, it's a drone that's, it's a mystery drone, Bill. There's a lot that, we don't really know the fine details. And I'll be interested to see you go through your process and maybe kind of see your results. And it seems like just because you get a certain result, the other person may not get the same result. So, I mean, I don't know what to say on this drone, except that, it seems like a great drone as far as, camera quality and all that. And none of this stuff doesn't make it good. Whether that waste has nothing to do with making a good drone, or whether broadcast remote ID doesn't mean anything about being a good drone. But just these little details, they need to be sorted out, Bill.
Yeah, I agree, Ron. Well, the one thing that I can say that I found odd was in this initial firmware update, it added master shots. Okay. And I thought, that was interesting, because I thought it would have come from the factory like that, because almost every other DJI drone up until that point had it on the
Bill,
flyout.
That shows you his rush released.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ron. I think you're right with that. So,
and that's why support probably doesn't know the answer to these questions, because it got put out a little fast before all this stuff got documented by their own engineers and testers and whatever.
Exactly. So I'm going to get it out this weekend. I'm going to get it out for a couple of flights, and we'll shake it loose, and we'll take a look at some of the features and things. And
probably,
see how things go.
If you haven't ordered it, probably the longer you wait, the more the stuff will be solved through firmware updates.
Yeah, I believe so. I think probably by the time I go to fire it up, there'll probably be another firmware update that's going to take care of some stuff. So stay tuned for all of this. It's a kind of a work in progress. And also the Mavic 4 Pro, stay tuned for that, because I'm going to get that fired up and
Guess
get
what?
that.
There's no issues with that baby. The firmware's it's been out long enough. The firmware's rock solid.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm really looking
you're not
forward
going
to
to see a
getting.
lot of issues with that bad boy.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting that up and having some fun with that. So, all
Yeah.
right, guys, have a great rest of your week. And as always, remember, it's a
Good
great
night.
day to fly. Take care, everybody.